If you want to get more sales on your e-commerce site, you need to reduce friction. Let's talk about how to do that and why it matters. When it comes to shopping behavior, people are really interesting. Someone might be 99% ready to purchase something that they want, or maybe it's something that they need, but just one little roadblock can cause them to stop entirely. I'm going to show you 9 specific ways to reduce this friction, so be sure to watch the whole video and please subscribe if you like this kind of content. So, where does the friction come from? Well, it really depends. There could be internal factors with the customer. Maybe they're nervous about spending the money, maybe they haven't been fully convinced of the quality of what it is that they're buying, or the level of trust in who they're buying it from. There could also be external factors, that would be your store. For example, maybe they can't figure out how to get the specific color or variation or version of the product they want, maybe their preferred payment method isn't accepted, or maybe there's a performance issue where they hit checkout, the page spins its wheels for 5 seconds, they get bored, and leave. These are all universal problems when it comes to online shopping. It doesn't matter whether you're selling luxury goods or essentials or anything in between. The good news is that if you run your own store on something like WooCommerce, then you can do a lot to reduce this friction. Whereas if you're selling on Etsy or Amazon, you're a lot more limited in what you can do. So, problem 1 is trust. Customers can hesitate or abandon cart if they feel like they can't trust what they're buying. There are a few straightforward things we can do to help customers in this position. First, we can add reviews. For example, my business sells software for musicians, and so we send review copies to publications like industry blogs and even some print magazines. Then we post reviews on the product page. This is a little bit different than social proof, which is the next thing, because we're looking to get proof that's authoritative from some kind of trusted source in your industry that your customers would hopefully know about. Think about what kind of resources like this there are in your industry. Next is that social proof I just mentioned. This is more like a review or a testimonial from just a regular customer or user and not a professional reviewer. You should be using things like Google Alerts and TweetDeck to search for mentions of your brand and your products. Then you can reach out to customers who've written something nice and ask them if you can use their testimonial. A third way to address trust is with clear policies for your warranty, return policy, any satisfaction guarantee, and so on. Especially if someone's a new customer and your brand isn't that established, it should be very clear on product pages and the checkout page what your policies are. People want to make sure that if they buy something and there's a problem, there's a way to address it. Now, before you start working on this stuff, please keep watching because these next issues and solutions are just as important. Okay, problem 2 that creates friction could be called confusion, where the customer doesn't know how to get the product they want, or they can't figure out what product is right for them in the first place. This can happen if you have a lot of products or a lot of variations, and so there's a few ways to tighten this up. First, with any listing that has multiple products, like a category page or your home page, make sure that there's a clear presentation of your best sellers at the top, the products that are most popular. If someone's arriving to your site at one of these pages, they probably don't know exactly what they want yet, so sorting by best sellers first is a good criteria. Next, let's say you have a bunch of similar products. This would be a good time for something like a comparison page or a table showing a comparison of key features and specs and pricing so that people don't have to visit a bunch of different pages. You want them to look at this one place, make their decision, and then go immediately to the product that's right for them. We use something called a series page for some of our products where customers can scroll through and see the key differences between related virtual instruments in our case. Finally, if you're displaying variations on a specific product page, you want to make it clear how to switch variations. That should probably be in a very prominent spot as close to the top as possible, and it should update the price accordingly. This is also a good place to do some conversion rate optimization to test different ways of showing this info. Don't click away yet though, because we've got one more problem to solve that can seriously impact your conversion rate. This one happens further along after someone has added to the cart, and that is roadblocks in the actual checkout process. You want to make sure your checkout page is as streamlined as possible while collecting all the info you actually need to complete the transaction. For example, in my opinion, requiring users to make an account before their first purchase is a big roadblock. You should allow them to check out as guests, if possible. The checkout page is also not a place for upsells or cross-sells or confusing product information until they've actually put in their product info and hit that final button. So at this point, you can put in some kind of final offer. Speaking of payment, supporting as many payment methods as you can typically costs you nothing other than the basic integration setup, but it will definitely appeal to customers who prefer one over another. For example, we use not only PayPal and credit cards, of course, but also Amazon Pay, Google and Apple Pay, Afterpay, Nihao Pay, and a whole bunch of EU-specific payment methods that will appear based on the store currency and the customer region. Those are 9 ways to address friction in your e-commerce store. Make these changes and your conversion rate should definitely increase. What do you think? Let me know in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one.